What the hell is this? I can't say I've seen a bigger fall from grace since the devil himself. Black Mirror isn't a greatest of all time show. I don't think it's been long established enough at this point to earn that kind of title, but it is a good ass show, and I haven't really seen anybody who didn't become a fan after seeing it, and it does have episodes that are just considered classics. The show frequently uses concepts of technology to make you think long after a story ends. What if an AI recreation of yourself could exist, possibly forever? What if we could use technology to view memories and solve crimes? How would we act if we had a social rating that everybody could impact with any interaction? Is it right or wrong to psychologically torture people for the evil they've done? And what's the moral responsibility of others who would get enjoyment and entertainment out of watching it? The shit gets deep sometimes, and I often go back and watch old episodes just for something to do, and they're as good as the first time I saw them. We had a slight hiccup with season 5 having 3 episodes that basically all sucked, but even one of those sucky ones kind of leaves a lasting question for some. After quite some time, seemingly out of nowhere, we've been blessed again with a new season.
I guess 4 years.
Only 5 episodes, but I can take that. And my reactions while watching this were basically like, I can't really shit talk a full season without talking about individual episodes, and since there's only 5, here's a quick rundown of my thoughts overall with each one, while being completely fair and going into it with high hopes. Episode 1, I started off excited. The episode starts with your common Black Mirror feel. Someone works for an innovative company and does interesting things. Oh, wait, never mind. Her job actually has nothing to do with anything. Anyway, okay, so the idea is that every day of her life instantly becomes an episode of a new show everyone's watching on TV called, I don't know, Joan is a Bitch or something like that. It puts our main character, as well as us, the viewer, into an interesting story of trying to understand what's going on. Why is she on TV? And how does this show know her day-by-day life up to the hour? We soon learn that it's because she signed an agreement on her streaming app that allowed them to basically spy on her and use the data collected to generate a TV show with AI almost instantly. At this point in the episode, I'm quite engaged. Where is it going? Why is this happening? And how will we solve it? She starts coming up with a way to get the one-up on the service that's creating the show, and this is where it should start becoming very mind-bending and in-depth, complex thinking, but instead it kind of goes to shit, literally. Don't get me wrong, the episode was pretty funny, and it's definitely some lighthearted fun to the ending to kick off the season, but the ending is far too weak to justify devolving into silly jokes. It goes from this interesting plot we talked about to just Selma Hayek and our main character sneaking into a building to take an axe to the supercomputer that makes the shows. And the big twist is that she learns that she's also on a TV show for the real Joan, who's one level below her, making her question her own actions. Old Black Mirror would have left us wondering, who's the real Joan and how many are there? Or something to have us think after the episode ends. Spoiler alert, I didn't have to think at all. She breaks the computer and it shows there's just one real Joan under her. I was just like, okay, cool. Episode 2 is pretty simple. It's basically a common horror thriller type movie shrunk down into an episode.
I didn't know she was black.
Nothing too deep and no discussion really needed. They're basically in a town doing a documentary on a dead serial killer just to find out the guy's mom and dead mall cop looking dad were the actual serial killers when they left literal videotape evidence in their house. The episode climax is literally the killer chasing the main character. She falls and cracks her fucking head on a rock like every movie dumbass, and then the killer unalives herself for some reason, leaving the stack of tapes on the table for her son with a note saying to use them for his documentary. Really, really dumb. So episode 3 is all the ingredients for some really freaky shit. 2 astronauts on a several-year mission have machines that move their consciousness to a robot body of themselves back on Earth, where they can play with their wives or do whatever. This takes place in the 60s because, I don't know why. Guy number 1's family gets murdered while he watches, and then his robot body destroyed because, I don't know why. So guy number 2 lets him use his robot body so he can spend some time on Earth because Mission Control, I guess, can't make another robot body for him to use because I don't know why. The episode has the fixins for a real brain fuck, which I'm really craving by the 3rd episode, and it sure does try, with the confusion of the man's family having two consciousnesses take turns using the skin suit to spend time on Earth. But unfortunately, it's so easy to tell where all of this goes that all the big twists in the episode I was able to predict out loud before they happened. Guy number one would try to seduce guy number two's wife. Guy number one draws shit in the spaceship, so he's going to draw her naked, and guy two will find out. He's going to trap him out and overstay his welcome in the body. And about 2 seconds prior to the big reveal, I said, he's going to kill them all. Then the screen switches to guy two waking back up on Earth in the robot body, and it's covered in his family's blood because guy number one used it to kill all of his family. There was also such a comically cartoonish amount of blood smeared on the walls. I was like, all right, come on, damn, we get it. So both families are dead now, and it's just the two of them in space, and they only have each other. To be honest, I don't know why guy one didn't just pilot the ship into the sun after his family was killed, but okay, whatever. Episode 4. Episode 4 gives an interesting look at the paparazzi and how they basically stalk and harass people. And to be honest, the episode wasn't that interesting throughout even. I kept talking about shit and looking at my phone, but I was interested in seeing how it would unfold as they followed this celebrity lady and found out that she rented a whole rehab out for the weekend. The main crew sneak into the rehab and were prepared to find out something interesting. What's the twist? The celebrity chick had been bitten by a werewolf at the beginning of the episode, and now she's a werewolf too. They run from her, she gets shot, the episode ends. This is the first one where I was just like, come on, what the fuck is this? This is not Black Mirror. This is the straight to streaming or straight to DVD cheapo sci-fi shit you see. This is the discount bin at Walmart. Where's the shit that makes you think? After episode 3, I wasn't really impressed, but I wasn't exactly disappointed either. Although I found the episodes okay, I didn't see it likely that I would ever actually watch any of them again. But once I finished 4, I was actually like, do I even care to see 5? Do I even want to finish this? CGI werewolf almost took me out the game. That shit was so dumb, but I pressed on to finish the race. Little did I know the nightmare had only begun. In all honesty, episode 5 wasn't the worst of them all, but it was still dumb, and the question comes up of whose idea was it for the series to step away from sci-fi and tech and move instead to supernatural cliches. Episode 5 is basically a quiet lame chick gets visited by a demon telling her she needs to kill somebody each day for the next 3 days to prevent the apocalypse at the end of the 3rd day. Right off the bat, the story sounds pretty stupid. Now with Black Mirror, they do have a good way of making the story suspenseful and interesting, so it did keep me following, but boy was it dumb as hell. She goes from a scary, timid loser to a full-blown murder mastermind in less than 3 days, and after being caught in the act attempting the 3rd murder, she goes to jail where in questioning, it's revealed that she's really just crazy, and when the clock hits 12 on the 3rd day, nothing happens. But then it's double revealed that she actually isn't crazy as the demon visits her again and asks her if she wants to go join him in eternal damnation as the world begins to end around them, and she accepts. Dumb, dumb, dumb. This shit is so dumb. In a lot of older episodes of the show, there would be a real underlying message or question to think about. What the fuck is the message here? To listen to the voices in your head that tell you to murder because you might be preventing nuclear war? And that leads to a question for the whole season. What's the mindfuck of seeing a celebrity turn into a werewolf because she was bitten by a werewolf? When she's transforming, they're more concerned with taking photos than helping her for the most part. And the paparazzi's basically portrayed as the douchebags that they basically are in real life. And I think there's a message there about would we stand and watch or would we help or some dumb shit. I don't know. But that shit was so corny. What's the question or message of the cliche, your loved one is the killer? Is the moral of that story that they should have just talked about the eggs instead? They tried to leave things to think about in some episodes, with I guess 3 being, what do you do in this situation when the man with the murdered family murders his partner's family as well, so they're both stuck with each other to hang out in deep space with murdered families back on Earth? But there's so many pieces that would have to fall in line to ever even consider that. Episode 1, I think, leaves the question of, what if this is a simulation and you're in a quantum computer portraying the life of a real person who's one level under you? an idea that could be interesting, but has just already been asked a million times and already been done so much better before. There's very little in the realm of mind twisters here, and even in the sense of just being entertaining cinematic pieces, which they are kind of that, the stories themselves just aren't even that good and are high-key just goofy. I wouldn't say they were horrible, but it is crazy to think about. Somebody took the time to write this, then edit it, then write it some more, then get it approved, and then they were just like, yeah, this is going to be it. This is going to be season 6. Then they took time to cast actors, and the actors took time to practice their lines, and then they set up cameras and then recorded all this, and then they were editing it, and they were like, this is season 6, and nobody during this whole process was like, maybe this just isn't good. Now, I did mostly pay attention to all these episodes and was interested to see what would happen, but not only are they a super downgrade from the originals, these aren't even really rewatchable as standalone episodes themselves, and I gotta question if most of it was just me holding out to the end simply because I know how great the endings were in earlier episodes. Even the average episode from earlier seasons were ones you could go back to a few times. But this? What's the good episode? I would literally never watch any of these shitballs again. Black Mirror is a great concept and has put some real bangers out in the past. Even with that mediocre interactive episode that was lame as well, they were still trying to at least push for something different, especially at a time when the show was falling flat. But now they've gone completely backwards and are falling into cliche corn, and the longer they go on, the more it just devolves into shit. And I'm really wondering at this point, should they just hang it up? Just quit while you're ahead? If you're looking for an overall rating for the season, well, on a scale of piss to shit, I'll land it somewhere between water dookie and constipation. It's not the biggest piece of shit you'll ever experience, and in a small way, it's actually kind of enjoyable. But at the very least, it will give you something to listen to in the background as you stare at your phone and do something else more entertaining, with a few strong moments to jolt you back into it. I won't say to watch it, and I won't say don't watch it either. It's entirely up to you, and different strokes for different folks, I guess. But if the truth is that you don't know what you'll be missing, I prefer to say you simply won't care.